She didn't cheat, yet. But everything about her felt like she was already gone. Mornings used to be our quiet ritual. The smell of dark roast, the rustle of her soft robe, the low hum of the kettle. But lately, our kitchen felt like a waiting room, tight with silence, full of polite movements. No eye contact. Just two people orbiting each other like strangers who once knew how to dance. "You're up early," she said, not looking at me. "Deadline," I lied. I watched her stir oat milk into her coffee like it mattered. Perfect circles. Slow. Controlled. Everything she did lately was measured, as if each gesture was staged. Her hair was pinned up. Not messy like usual, but styled. Light makeup at 7:03 a.m. Perfume I hadn't smelled in weeks. She wasn't going to the office. She was going somewhere she wanted to be seen. "You working late again tonight?" She paused. Just for a second. But long enough. "Maybe. We've got this new internal project. I'm mentoring someone. Tyler. He's new. From LA. Tyler. That name again. Tyler must be learning a lot." She smiled, a soft one, like I'd made a joke that didn't land. "He's eager. It's refreshing. Refreshing. Like cold wind under a door." She kissed my cheek as she left. Her lips barely brushed my skin. The front door clicked shut and I sat there, coffee untouched, wondering when my marriage became a room I couldn't enter. We met 9 years ago at a mutual friend's bonfire. She wore an oversized hoodie and laughed with her whole face. Now she moved like a painting behind glass. Her laugh was still there. I heard it last week. Just not with me. She was on a call, in the bathroom, door cracked. That kind of half-laugh you only give someone you're trying to impress. She used to sound like that with me. Back when she still chose me. Every day. Without thinking. Now she was thinking. Tyler this. Tyler that. She never said anything wrong. Nothing that crossed a clear line. But it was the way she said his name, like it held light. I opened her laptop the next morning. Not to spy. Just to see. Email, clean. Calendar, full. Slack, silent. Then I checked the Notes app. There it was. A draft message. Sometimes I think about what it would be like to start over with someone who sees me. Really sees me. Who makes me feel alive again. I shouldn't think this. I love my husband. But I don't feel chosen anymore. No name. No recipient. Just a bleeding thought. I closed the laptop slowly. My hands were shaking. Not from rage. From recognition. She hadn't left yet. But she was already reaching. And I knew the branch she was swinging to had a name. Tyler. I stared at the hallway where she used to run barefoot, where we slow danced on our anniversary, where she once whispered, "You're home." Now it was just a hall. And I was just a man waiting for the fall. She stopped calling me, babe. Not all at once, like a slammed door, but like a faucet slowly turned off. A trickle. Then silence. First it was just, hey, then nothing at all. Conversations became calendar updates. Smiles became nods. Her voice, once warm and low in mine, drifted away like smoke I couldn't hold on to. She started staying late at work. That part wasn't new. What was new was the way she said it. "Don't wait up," she said, slipping on that gray coat she only wore for client meetings. Hair perfect. Lipstick that left no trace. "You sure it's just work?" I asked, halfway joking. Halfway not. She hesitated. Just a second. A blink. What else would it be? She smiled. But the smile didn't touch her eyes. That night, I stayed up. I worked with the TV off, lights low. I told myself I wasn't spying. I just wanted to see. She walked in at 11:42 p.m. No text. No explanation. Her heels clicked too confidently across the hardwood. "You're still up?" "Couldn't sleep." She kissed the top of my head like I was a child. Then went straight to the shower. I noticed the perfume. It wasn't hers. It was sweeter. Younger. Like something you wear to impress someone new. I sat at the edge of the bed and listened to the water run. Later, when she slept, I checked her car. Not because I wanted to find something. Because I already had. In the passenger footwell, under a travel brochure and empty coffee cup, was a folded receipt. 2 matcha lattes. 1 almond croissant. 4:19 p.m. Parkview Bistro. I knew that place. It wasn't near her office. But it was across from Tyler's. I closed my eyes. My hand tightened around the paper until it crumpled. This wasn't an affair. Not yet. It was something worse. It was the prelude. The soft emotional cheating. The daydreaming. The careful distance she was putting between us, like pillows lined along a couch when guests are coming. She was preparing to leap. Monkey branching. That term came to mind like a bad joke. Swinging from one branch to the next, never letting go until the next is strong enough. I was the old branch. She was already reaching. I sat back in the driver's seat. The silence was deafening. And in that moment, I knew. She hadn't cheated. But she would. She laughed in her sleep. It was soft, barely a breath. But it wasn't for me. I knew that laugh. Knew the tone. The warmth. It used to spill out when we were tangled in weekend sheets, when I'd whisper something stupid and she'd bury her smile into my chest. Now it drifted out in the middle of the night, toward someone in her dreams who wasn't me. I watched her for a while, the curve of her back lit by the blue glow of her phone on the nightstand. She used to sleep on my chest. Now she curled away, like the bed was divided by a line neither of us dared cross. The next morning, I woke up alone. Her side was made. Neat. As if she hadn't slept there at all. A note on the kitchen counter. Early start. Meeting at Tyler's office. Don't wait on me for dinner. X. No, love you. No heart. Just an X. I stared at that letter for too long. Wondering how a single stroke of ink could feel like a knife. I called in sick. Not to follow her. Not to confront. I just needed to see. I parked across from the glass building downtown, 3 floors of curated light and smart casual fashion. Tyler's firm. I'd never been there, but I knew the address. She'd mentioned it enough times. At 9:06 a.m., I saw her. Her coat fluttered behind her like a cape. She was smiling. Not the tired smile she gave me lately. This one lit up her whole face. And then he walked out to meet her. Tyler. Taller than me. Cooler haircut. Linen shirt. Of course. They didn't touch. But their bodies moved like magnets fighting etiquette. A step too close. A pause too long. A look that lasted a beat more than necessary. She looked at him like I wasn't in her life. And in that moment, I felt like I wasn't. I stayed there an hour. Maybe 2. Watching nothing, waiting for something I couldn't name. When I got home, I opened her laptop again. Not to snoop. To understand. New tab. Incognito mode. Search history was clean. But one window was still open in the background. Best ways to end a long-term relationship without causing pain. I stared at it until the screen went dim. She was planning the exit. Not today. Not tomorrow. But soon. And the worst part? She was trying to be gentle. Like I was a stray dog she'd fed too long. Like she was afraid of how much I might whimper when she finally closed the door. That night, I didn't speak. She came home late. Hair messy. Eyes bright. Still glowing from whatever conversation they'd had. Work was crazy, she said, kicking off her heels. I nodded. You okay? She asked. Yeah. Just tired. She smiled. That polite, distant smile. Then disappeared into the shower. I stood in the doorway. Listening. To the water. To the quiet. To the sound of something breaking that no one else could hear. She started dressing like someone I hadn't met yet. Silks instead of sweaters. Lacy things drying in the bathroom, tags still dangling. Lipsticks in shades she'd once said were too much. It's just for me, she said once, catching my glance. But it wasn't. It was for someone who made her feel seen again. And that someone wasn't me. That week, she started working weekends. Or so she said. Her laptop never came home. Neither did the tension. Saturday morning, I followed her car. Not far. Just enough. I didn't want to know. But I needed to see. She parked in front of a brunch spot we used to love. The one with lemon pancakes and a tiny courtyard with ivy walls. She hadn't mentioned it in years. She stepped out of the car and checked her reflection in the window. Then he appeared. Tyler. Again, no touch. But this time, they laughed the moment their eyes met. Like the rest of the world went silent for them. I sat 3 tables away. Alone. Behind my sunglasses. A ghost. They shared a plate. She hated sharing food. At least, she used to. She leaned in when he talked. Tilted her head. Brushed her hair back the way she did when we first met. I couldn't taste my coffee. When they got up to leave, she took a selfie. With him. She hadn't taken a photo with me in 6 months. That night, she came home humming. She twirled into the kitchen barefoot, her phone still glowing in her hand. You're in a good mood, I said. She looked up like she forgot I lived here. Yeah. Just a beautiful day. She kissed my cheek. It burned. Later, when she fell asleep, I opened her phone. I knew the code. Of course I did. Photos. A new folder. Smiles. Inside, 8 pictures of Tyler. Different angles. Coffee cups. Him driving. Then one of her. Smiling into his shoulder. She hadn't left me yet. But she'd already framed someone else in the spot I used to stand. And the scariest part? She looked happier there. The night I decided to disappear, it rained. Not the kind of rain that lashes windows or floods gutters. The kind that taps gently. Constant. Almost forgiving. She came home at 10:14 p.m. Her heels were in her hand. Hair damp. Eyes glowing from the kind of laughter people don't share with just anyone. You're still up? She asked. Couldn't sleep, I said, for the 100th time that month. She smiled, soft and distracted. Walked past me like a breeze. I watched her walk down the hall. She paused at the bedroom door. Looked back. Said nothing. Then closed it. It wasn't anger I felt. It wasn't even sadness. It was the click of a door that didn't need locking to shut someone out. That night, I wrote a note. Not long. Just enough. I saw you. I saw everything. I'm not angry. Just done. Keep the apartment. I'm not the branch you want anymore. I folded it once. Placed it on her pillow. Next to it, a photo of us from 5 years ago. The beach trip. Her laughing, eyes closed, salt in her hair. Back when she reached for my hand without thinking. And beside that, my wedding ring. The rain hadn't stopped. I packed a single duffel bag. Clothes. My camera. A book she never read. I left the house key on the table. One last look. No tears. Just that ache of walking out of a room still full of your fingerprints. I drove for hours with no music. Just wipers and silence and the sound of every version of her I had to let go of. By dawn, I reached the coast. The sea was flat. Gray. Indifferent. Like it knew secrets I hadn't said out loud. I sat on a bench, salt in the air, damp hoodie pulled tight. And I whispered to no one. She didn't cheat. But she left me all the same. And somehow, that felt worse. She found the note at 6:27 a.m. I know that because she called at 6:28. 12 times. I watched each call buzz across the lock screen of a burner phone I bought 3 towns away. No ringtone. Just the quiet flash of a name that used to mean home. Then came the texts. Where are you? Please, this isn't funny. Come home. We need to talk. You misunderstood. Nothing happened. I swear. But everything had already happened. Just not in the way she thought betrayal works. She never touched him. Maybe. I don't know. But she had built a life behind my back, brick by brick, dream by dream. She saved her real smiles for someone else. Her thoughts. Her playlists. Her Sundays. I gave her time. To reach out. To explain. To try. But she never said the words I was waiting to hear. Not once did she write. I'm sorry. Not once did she ask. Can we fix this? Only panic. Only damage control. Only her fear of being caught in the middle of a swing. Monkey branching doesn't leave room for freefall. She thought I'd always be there. A safety net she could return to if the next branch snapped. But I wasn't. I spent the day by the ocean. Didn't speak. Didn't think. Just watched the tide undo the sand, wave after wave. Like it was teaching me how to let go of something without screaming. That night, another message came. Tyler isn't what you think. It was just a crush. It meant nothing. Crush. What a soft word for emotional arson. I turned off the phone. And for the first time in weeks, I slept. She didn't stop calling. For days, it was a pattern. Morning voicemails filled with panic. Evening texts written like prayers. All of them dancing around the truth. Let's talk. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please, just tell me where you are. But the one thing she never said. I chose you. Because she hadn't. Silence became my boundary. I rented a small place a few miles inland. 1 bedroom. No photos. No shared history. Just space. I worked with the windows open, let the sound of leaves replace the noise of second guessing. Cooked my own food. Burned her favorite candle just to prove I no longer cared about the scent. I kept the burner phone off most of the time. But some nights, I checked the voicemails. One stood out. Her voice was smaller. Not desperate. Just quiet. I know I hurt you. I know I leaned on someone else when I should have leaned on you. And maybe I got lost in something stupid because I was scared we were fading. But I never wanted to lose you. I didn't realize you were already halfway gone. Pause. Please. If there's even a sliver of a chance, call me. I listened to it twice. Then deleted it. Because I knew what she really wanted. Not me. Just forgiveness. Just to feel clean again. But this wasn't a stain you could scrub out with one tearful apology. She never loved Tyler. Maybe. But she loved what he gave her. Newness. Attention. That glint of, what if? And in chasing that, she let go of the man who had memorized her coffee order, her grandmother's birthday, the scar behind her left knee. You don't come back from that. At least. Not to me. That night. I poured a glass of wine. Turned off the phone. And sat in the quiet. The kind that doesn't ache anymore. The kind that sounds like freedom. 3 weeks passed. No calls. No texts. No apologies. Just silence. And in that silence, something strange happened. I started to feel light. Not healed. Not whole. But less heavy. The kind of weight that slips off you when you stop hoping someone will turn around. One morning, I saw her name in my inbox. Subject line, just one thing. I didn't open it. Not because I didn't care. But because I already knew what it would say. Something soft. Something polished. One final attempt to close the door gently. But I didn't need closure from her. I found it the night I stopped checking my phone. The morning I made coffee without thinking of how she took hers. The moment I laughed out loud, alone, and realized it wasn't strange. I kept the photo. The one I left on the pillow. But not for nostalgia. It reminds me of the version of her that once chose me. Before she started reaching. Before her eyes drifted past me even when they looked right at me. That version is gone. And the woman who tried to replace her never truly knew what she lost. People think betrayal is a single act. But it's not. It's the 1,000 tiny breaks before the collapse. The missed texts. The turned shoulders. The inside jokes that don't include you anymore. She thought she left gently. But she disappeared one laugh at a time. I took the photo, the ring, and the note she never got to answer. Slipped them into an envelope. And mailed it to the apartment we used to share. No return address. No words. Just memory, sealed tight. Then I walked to the edge of the bluff, where the ocean wind hits hardest. And let it all blow through me. Somewhere behind me. She might still be wondering why I left. But I'm not waiting for her to understand anymore. Some people don't cheat with their bodies. They cheat with their absence. And she was already gone long before I ever walked away.